In this video, I'll share my first beginnings of development of my porn addiction. It started around 8th or ninth grade in the elementary. And I would say it was very natural beginning, or nothing really that special or complicated. You have a boy who is going into a puberty and he starts to get interested in the other sex. So naturally, if he wants to search more information and wants to know more about this new parts of the life, the way I did it was through internet. I was searching from different videos and pictures, and over time, this became a repetitive action. It became my one of the most frequent hobbies I was doing. Over time, it reached the peak where I was consuming pornography for, I would say, 5, 6, or perhaps 7 times a day, where it started to become very noticeable, the shift in the change. At least that's how I see it. It can be interpreted in different ways since it was during puberty. So the following things can be normal signs of puberty, or could have been also influenced by the frequent consumption of pornography. We are talking about things of frequent masturbation. We are talking about things of neglecting hygiene. So back then, I would say I was, for example, showering like once every 2 weeks ish. I would say that was like maximum of how far away the times when I went to shower were. So I would say that yeah these were like the most like spaced out times. What also started to happen was, of course, the masturbation itself started to become more frequent. It got even to a point where I started, or pretty much I fractured my private parts. And if I think about it, all of these things that were happening weren't really that impactful and didn't really wanted me to change. So I kept going and had no real reason to stop. Over time, years pass, I started to notice few things happening that started to really bother me. Two primarily. First one was daydreaming. During classes, when I was at musical school, I once in a while had these moments when I just stopped for a moment and have this visual, very detailed scenes of the pornography I found at that time, I would say my favorite. This got to a point where this normal scene started to get illustrated through the people I was talking with, which started to worry me in a way that I just wasn't really comfortable that I was talking to this person. And because I respect that person, I don't know, either he was my friend or it was someone older for me, it was a person who I respected. Despite that, I started to have these visual fantasies and I would say a sexual objectification where I had problems to stay comfortable within myself, knowing that this is what my mind is doing. This was the first thing. The second thing was, or where ED, erectile dysfunction, or to be more specific, PIED, porn induced erectile dysfunction. Specifically, it got to a point where I had problems controlling when I got aroused and when not. The moments which got me to a point where like I don't want this to ever happen again, where when I started to get aroused at public places or in situations where, let's just say that if people would knew that I am aroused, it would be very hard to explain because people don't know, or at least they are not aware of it. So I won't go into too much details in that. Because of these moments, even though I wasn't really social kid, I would say, one of those like the outsiders. I didn't really fit into the majority of the group, so I stayed like away, did my own thing, has perhaps one or maybe two people who I was talking to. And even though that this was pretty much my social life and I was fine with it, even this started to collapse and became more difficult for me to stay comfortable with myself. And it started to really bother me. Because of these moments, I decided to stop. Not because I was physically in really un in a I was very lacking my hygiene to a point where I felt more like an animal as a human being living from day to day. I was fracturing my skin, and there are also like few minor things that were influenced there, but like these are like the major ones. Like even these things, like I didn't really care to stop. Like my life wasn't for me that worth to like do something about it. Like I was fine with it. But after I started to, after it involved to my social life, and I those few people I had really good relationships with, even that start when that started to collapse and get in danger zone, that's when I decided to try to look for a solution. The way I did it was that I noticed that during some days, even though I was consuming pornography 7 times a day, suddenly they came days where from times a day it went to zero for the first day, and then again zero for the second day. Then on the third day it went back to five, six, and more times. But these days were very interesting to me. I was starting to think like, what is the pattern? What is what makes this day so special that it made me not to go back to pornography? There were very it was how to describe it. The pattern I noticed was that the moment I saw myself being helpful to someone, this help I was providing fulfilled me up to the point where I no longer had the need to watch pornography. Looking back to my younger self, the situations where I was watching pornography were first because of boredom, and second because I lacked the emotions and the feelings of affection or the feelings of love, I would say. Because of this, the pornography made me feel to some degree special. In reality, what was happening that it wasn't solving the fact I was alone. What pornography was doing was taking away the pain from the loneliness, but it did not fix the loneliness. So in a abstract sense, we can say, apologies, we can say that the emptiness within me wasn't filled with something solid, it was just filled up with air. And the emptiness was still there, still growing, and nothing changed. But the moment I found out that when there is person in need and I help this person, their reaction, and at least knowing that they are doing better now because of the impact I made, this feeling filled me up with something I have even now a hard time to describe. What was it? But using that imaginary like description, it fulfilled me. It made me feel whole. It made me feel as my existence matter. And these moments were the ones where over time made me to not only learn to control my addiction, but also get into a years long relationship. So, if there is a takeaway for my younger self, if I had the opportunity to talk to my younger self who is looking for the answers, and I could help him to tell him what to look for, I would say look for the moments where you had the opportunity to watch porn, but you decided to not to. These moments were the moments where you found an alternative solution to your problem and you were solving the problem, not the pain of the problem. Because that's how I see the pornography addiction. The addiction is not a problem, it's a solution to a problem. And the problem that the pornography is fixing is not the problem itself, it's the pain of the problem. It's the awareness that there is something that I lack, there is something I'm bad at, there is a deficiency. And this awareness through the pain or discomfort is what the pornography is solving. The addiction to pornography is solving. It takes away the pain, it numbs you, and it makes you no longer to be able to feel this, at least for a moment. Later, it will rise again because of the remorse, because of the shame and guilt. But at least for a moment, it makes you feel like everything is okay. So, find these moments, try to look for these what makes these moments so special, and repeat them. Repeat them as many times until you find the thing that makes you feel whole, that makes you feel that your existence matters. Once you find that, the rest of the journey is much simpler, much clearer, and much more enjoyable and fulfilling.